This video might make a few people uncomfortable, especially if you own real estate in Toronto. I'm going to tell you something that others don't. I'm going to talk about the pressure, the fear, and the denial that's coming, especially from the sellers in today's market. Behind the headlines and behind the market stats, there is a system under stress. Homeowners, realtors, and investors are all hanging to the idea that everything is fine. But is it really fine? Today we go deep into what's really holding Toronto real estate market together in the summer of 2025 and how fragile that support actually is. But before that, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Now let's dig in. On the surface, Toronto real estate looks quiet. There's not a crash, not a boom, just floating. But look closer. In June 2025, sales were 6,243, and that's down 2.4% from last year. If you watched my previous video, you know all the numbers exactly. I'm just reviewing a few top high-level numbers right now, and then I'm gonna get into the details of the topic of this video. So in terms of prices were down. If you watched my previous video, prices were down. The average home sold for $1.1 million, a 5.5% decline year over year. Detached homes took the biggest hit among them, which was 6.5% down. Condos held up a little bit better, but they're still 2.3% down. More homes are being listed. So basically we had 7.7% more listings, but they are not moving. They are just basically sitting on the market. It's like the entire market is holding its breath right now. As you already know, real estate is my business. So the information that I'm giving you in my videos are based on the facts and based on the current real estate condition, real estate market in Toronto. I talked to lots of real estate agents. I talked to lots of buyers and sellers. So the feedback that I'm getting, especially from real estate agents, actually, let me tell you, I talked to lots of top real estate brokers in Toronto and got lots of feedback from them. You know what they're saying? They're saying things like sellers are still pricing their homes or have this kind of expectation that it's still, let's say, 2021. So they want those prices. And what we are seeing is that we get, let's say, 10 plus showings, but there are no offers coming in. And that tells me that the illusion of value is still strong in Toronto. People saw, for example, their neighbors sold a house in 2025 for $1.5 or $1.6 million, and they can't accept that theirs might right now be worth $1.4 million, $1.3 million. They cannot accept that. So that tells me how the sentiment is for the sellers right now. But buyers today aren't buying yesterday's dreams, in my opinion. They're buying with calculators, and right now the math doesn't work. So that's the reason, that's one of the main reasons that homes are sitting right now. And that basically helps the illusion to drag on. Now let's talk about fear. Toronto real estate market isn't just reacting to interest rates or job market numbers. The market is reacting to emotions. People are scared of overpaying, basically, of losing their job, of crime. And yes, in June 2025, TREP specifically finally flagged violent carjacking and home invasions. Now real estate agents are now being asked by their clients that, is my car going to be safe if I buy in this neighborhood? One buyer walked away from a deal after finding out that the cars, basically a couple cars, have been stolen in that area in the past while. So when fear shows up in buying behavior, that's not a stat, it's a signal. It's a powerful one. On the other hand, we have the mortgage renewals. Roughly 1.2 million mortgages across Canada are up for renewal this year and next. So most of those mortgages were signed at 1.5 to 2% interest rates, and now they are being renewed at 4% to, let's say, 4.5 or maybe higher. It depends on the lender. It's A lender, B lender, whatever. We are talking about hundreds of dollars. Sometimes it depends on the original purchase price. Sometimes we're talking about thousands of dollars more in terms of payments per month. So some owners will extend their amortization, some will refinance, and some will have to sell, unfortunately. This hasn't fully hit yet, in my opinion, but when it does, we could see a surge in listings more than what we see in the market right now. So that would be a pressure on the supply side, and no one knows how that's going to play out. So you might be wondering, what about interest rates? Aren't they going down? Yeah, kind of. The Bank of Canada has made 7 rate cuts since 2024. Those rate cuts would help for sure, but it's going to help a bit. The damage was already done, in my opinion, to the real estate market, and those cuts haven't revived the demand in any meaningful way. Why? Because people don't trust this market yet. Not after watching prices fall and payments skyrocket. Cuts are coming, in my opinion, but confidence will take time time to get back to the real estate market. So what's holding this market? In my opinion, three things. First is denial. The sellers still think they can get yesterday's prices. The second one is lack of desperation. Most owners have equity or decent jobs and they're not forced to sell yet. And the third one is hope, because everybody's waiting for a rebound. I know you may think it's a fragile balance and it's not gonna last forever, because the minute one of those legs gets kicked out, desperation, fear, or financial stress, things can change. If you're a buyer, this is your market, but it's also a market full of traps. I suggest you don't rush, don't buy emotionally, and don't overstretch yourself. In my opinion, you should be looking, if you're a buyer, you should be looking for overpriced listings who have been sitting on the market. They might be, if they have been sitting on the market for long enough, they might be open to negotiate the price, and you probably can get some incentives, or they would be more flexible in terms of terms and conditions and pricing. Let's talk about condos. With the recent stats on carjacking and theft, if you're very concerned about the security, condos are one of the most secure options because they have security cameras, they have like underground parking, they have concierge and security staff. Most of them, of course, not all condos have this stuff, but most of them seem to be more secure if you're worried about your security and safety. On top of that, the condos are cheapest options out there, especially with the current market. You see that the condos are at a very affordable levels. The prices are at very affordable levels, especially for first-time home buyers. They could be the best option out there. And in any given neighborhoods, if you compare the price of a condo and the price of a detached, you'll see it's going to be less than, in some cases, it's almost, let's say, the average price of a condo is less than half of an average price of a detached house in any given neighborhoods, almost. And always make sure you ask, can I afford this if rates stay flat for 2 more years, for example? Because yes, you might get a deal right now, but buying wrong in a falling market is still buying wrong. But if you buy a good deal, you can always hold on to that, because you know the property that you got is a premium option. So now I'm gonna tell you about what my opinion is about the next 6 months. So probably more of this is going to be in the market, or we are going to see more of this. For example, flat prices and a slightly stressed renewals, and we might see, of course, more aggressive sellers. I don't count on it a lot because we don't know how the renewal wave is going to unfold, but you might see more aggressive sellers going into the fall market. So if you're looking for deals, make sure to be actively observing the market. Unless something big changes, like for example, a major Bank of Canada pivot or a spike in forced sales, this installment, the whole the market that we are in, I think it's going to be like this for a while. But the pressure, of course, might be building. It depends on the renewals, the job market, and the Bank of Canada policy going into the third and the fourth quarter of 2025. So is Toronto real estate market a house of cards? In my opinion, not really. The structure looks stable, at least at this point. In my opinion, it's all assumptions. People like to speculate, basically. Whether you call it denial, whether you call it it's hope. In my opinion, smart buyers negotiate and buy when no one else is buying. For smart buyers, the opportunities are out there. Smart sellers also need to price their homes realistically, or they may get left behind. And for everyone else, keep watching the market. Toronto's housing market is prone to changes, and when it changes, it will change fast. So make sure to subscribe to my channel to stay in the know and don't left behind.